Samandang Gombo Jizun Jamba Yang Chan Cai Loin Kanji Lundrup Tim Yin Tinda Yin Da Nam Da Ra Sa Vi Chi Yin Tungun Chi Shin Si Chi Yin Jin Tung Gar Len Bom Dim Kandai Si Bin Sun Rai Mari Mun Toin Tung Ai Ji Si Vi Ru Tsui Kun Lai Pun Jin Dar Zi Yin Lai Tu Ju Yang Den Song Ru Dar Chen Ru Nyu Mo Ni Long Le Jin Chang Ru Ru Zin Chi Ma Ri Mun Sen Tung Ai Nyu Gu Chi Nian Chen Zi Ra Li Nam Denen Ta Jin Sa Ju Tar Si Yun Den Lun Zoi Yal Sen Tu Wei Gu Ju Tai Ju Nin Yin De Ta Le Mun Sen Jam Bai Yang Lai Rab Du Du Omara Bazana De Omara Bazana De Omara Bazana De Omara Bazana Marabazana de 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 Zeden Chenji Kenra Vesenji Talen Timoy Mumbai Rasani Gadan Denje Shun Loi Dog Bai London Bombe Nawa Zaldoi Soin Kang Tse Dawar De Bam Chung Sen Ti War De Na Yang Gombo Jam Yan Te Ni Keme Bar Yan Tong War Shu Ning De Chimbo Tse Ni Me Shin Song Ne Mo Lam Chimbo Ngan Je Da Benga Dar Ngan Tsen De Chip Min Do Dun Ba Tu Je Chen La Gui Cha Ca Wu Jin So Lin Pe Men Dong Bo La Ja We Nam Do Rang Ju Lun Jin Do Chen So Be Je Yen Den So Bar Wa Pema Junen Dalu Be Chen Jo Masum Jime Sheran Parun Je Ma Jime Ka Nam Je Ngo Ni So So Rang Ri Shi Ju Wa Tu Sum Je We Yum La Gui Cha Ca Lu Be Lu Do Arya Te Wa Ta Tong Mi Yin Yin Cho Lan Chu Ji Da Yun Te We Dan Sha Je We Ji Sha Jin Du Cho Ni Nam La Gui Cha Ca Wo Men Chu Ji Yin Ji Po Rang Ne Tu Sum San Je Kun Ji Ngo Ni Sum Chu Gu Ngo Sum Tuen Ze Ba Za We Lam Me Shab La So Wa Den Da So Zhe We Lam Na Chue Lan Ju Gon Ju Tok Ba Po Wa Ren Chin Ji Lo Ho La So Te Nam Ju Kyun Ten Shu Ba Na Shin Re La Te Ba Chim Bu Gi Nyam Len Di Zo Gu Long La Ra Le Du Te Gu Long Gi Na Ne Gu Long Sang Shu Yak Shu Ja Che Shu Te Ane Chang Ju Ki Sem Rin Bu Chi Yin Du An Ti Ni Di Sam Long On Du Shak De An Da Lo Jung Na Ro Na Shu Yin.
So, as we often speak of, for the study of the Mahayana Dharma, the most important things is the motivation, the intention, the genuine motivations, the vast and the pure motivations. So, I request all of you to give rise to this mind of the awakened one at the beginning of the sessions.
Tang na lob jong che di ani sanje gi ka te ching gi la pe ka ani ten ju ta kan ka di gi chen ta pe ja di ming la ni tang na di ro Bhagavati Panja Parimita Hridaya Shebe ta ten ju di che ro la.
So, this context, or the text we are studying now, is the teachings of the perfection of the wisdom, specifically the teaching that came through Buddha's blessings. So the perfection of the wisdom, Prajna Paramita Shridaya here.
따디 가진니 말한저 딱 초람지 값수 아니 동니기 된디 아니 사모동만이기 된디 아니 우메기 땡지 첨부 시슈나인디도 나슈나인디도 딘데고는 냠네 난고래 스직다 되네 마치 랩데라.
So we are at the context of studying the studying the path of the accumulations. On this, we have been talking about the studying of the profound emptiness through the 5 or 4 great Madhyamaka reasonings.
타디 나네 딱 가진 딱 릭바 딱 릭바 시도 주시 마라.
So, in the previous sessions, we have talked about 4 great reasonings of the Madhyamaka.
딱 릭바 시 꼴텔라 아니 뭐마 롭종 진용긴도 있나니 발제 야부 공유도 가오래 야 롭종 사도 지긴도 있나 한 딘솔량 또 사제스나 민도 삼로 당당도 도스 쉬나 텐소.
So about those 4 great reasons we have talked about already. So for those of you who have studied Buddha Dharma before, probably you have understood the teaching very well. But those who are new, so I will explain a little bit more.
당아도 산제기 추기 dom라우디 가서 상계 남지 최된바 덴바니라 양다 두스다 덴바니디 담봉어시고 그래.
So the frame or the system of the Buddha Dharma is mainly the 2 truths. So it's very important to understand the meaning of 2 truths first.
되네 안 덴바니 되니다 군접기 덴바다 된다메 덴바스 니유고요.
The 2 truths are basically the conventional truth and the ultimate truth.
다 군접기 덴바 샤바데 다 단단 가란 저기 다 로율도 줄베기 율당 율진기 남샤데 샤고라.
The conventional truth is our ordinary perceptions of subject and object, whatever we ordinarily being perceived to be. That's the conventional truth.
아니 된담베 덴바 샤바데 딱 팍반 남기 율도 줄바 샤고라.
So then the ultimate truth is the perception of the noble ones.
당아란 저기 율율진기 남샤데 규데 로 틀베고네 샤샤바레.
So our perception of the object and the subject are based on the confused minds of ours.
파반 남기 되니 율도 줄바 딘소디 로 양다바레.
So the object of the perceptions of the noble ones are based on the pure seeings or pure vision.
돈 하버동아란 저 아니 파베 로세인기 치디 베주 뉴단 파베 이셰 세긴디다 베주 숙제 땅그라.
For the noble ones, we generally do not use the term such as mind. Mostly we talk about, we use the term wisdoms or the wakefulness.
ngaran sogi 율율진기 남샤티 ngaran sogi 덴바레 다 진데 그래.
So for us, the whatever we perceive as object and subject, we always think them as truly established. We grasp at the true existence of them.
다 택바 전부 음멜남네 시행용디 ngaran sogi 낭샤베 율율진티 딱신제나 미덴바 줌바 임바직 숭용 그래.
Then, according to the investigation of the the middle way, then our way of perceiving things are kind of false and mistaken.
따이낭 코남바기 나란초 다 소소교기 율류징이 남자디 줌바레스네 코남바기 라바쌈지 간주 이책 말아 디 이체버 자베 탑라 대 오메 텐직심보 시암 나디 송샤버레.
However, we ordinary beings are generally not convinced of our mistaken perceptions. Therefore, the awakened ones, they taught or they come to show us the actual truth through this great reasonings.
페나 지당 드니 ngaran zogi ta thong dewi gi ta chok se tang ta mendo la so ba thi demba mare se mi gi lap sona ta ngaran zogi thanda gi nangwa te la denjin zimba de shuk chum ba de demba nang de di khasu te demba mare lap gi mi di ta phaje di mi di chol mena mi di ta thangburang me yasa mare ta ko ji semba thangburang yasa mare ko chol de se sam gi ra.
So if someone comes and tells us that our the perception of tables and flowers are mistaken and false, then we will think, oh, that this guy is confused. He is crazy, or he do not see the right things that we might think.
타던다 우메 리글람네 테니 리벨람네 지니 간졸라 지 덴바 마힘바지 두비온디 테니 ngaranzola te samno tanggo ji dan di dembaredo sambe ngeba thongegi kwagap nigira.
However, then through the study of the great reasoning of the middle way, then we will find a way to kind of gain certainty about our wrong way of seeing things, our wrong perceptions.
다 도르드나 ngaranzo 다데기 율율진기 나와테 덴바레 생가zo 숭 텔라 진 텔라 뜨네테니 되차 세당 띠무 테니 레 상행사 안 대기 되오디 동안 남바 나서고 망보지 중고요리.
So the thing is based on our wrong perceptions, our way of seeing things, wrongly, then that's kind of make us to give rise to attachment, hatred, and stupidities. And then through those negative emotions, then we get to suffer tremendously.
때 ngaranzola semnangla kowa dawchi dang nyongwa dawchi demba mare sambe기 ngebadik thongyin songwaina zumbare samsongwaina 안 denjin di shigdo.
If we find certainty that things are, our perceptions are wrong, whatever we see are not true, then slowly, our fixations, our grasping at true hypostatical existence, then slowly get reduced.
당가란조 우메기 남네 타니기 남샤된조 덴바 마두바레 숭용디 간조 노래 찍 녀가래 다 딘데디나 타니라 떼고사 말에 삼베기 삼로 카가실립도 딘데 말했다.
So when the Majamaka or the middle way says that all the conventional systems are false, then we might come to understand that we don't really need to depend on the conventional reality or the systems. But however, that's not the case.
티다 삼레하고 땅마토나 먼저 동바 창치 세긴티 다 녀가 전부 쓰기를.
If we are not able to be very careful with this point, then there is a danger that we might fall into the into the emptiness, which we treat emptiness as complete nothingness or vacuity.
ngaranso dine laurala chunyi gi nezu la tongba ni rete
이나 타니기 남샤지 마가베기 낭초게레스 된 삼당
We have to understand that the ultimate nature of the reality, then things are empty. However, on the conventional level, things are also, things may arise.
땡도 디바 탐제 세나 로이 꽤 탐제 세송하나 되니 내니 송죽선에 기 상계 살렙소나 양 계절 로가 렙도라
However, if our obscurations and mistaken perceptions are completely exhausted, and we arrive at the level of the Buddha, where two truths are completely kind of unified, or there's unity of the two truths, then if we reach that level, then that's a different case.
다 우멘 남네 시에 인디 가서라 낭베 똥바 줍니바당 똥베 나와 줍니바스나 딘데 삼로 립고
So for the Majjhimaka way, we have to understand that the appearance can establish emptiness, and vice versa, the emptiness can also establish appearance, or can also be appearance as well.
똥바레 레 똥바 똥장 찬한 디기 말 낭와레 낭와 nem바 송난 디기 말 다디니가 괜찮아요
When we speak of emptiness, it should not be a complete nothingness, vacuity. But when we speak of appearance, it should not be also true existence.
홀라 스타디 지당기 삼노티 다 도르드나 ngaran chogi nangwa the lo thulbegi nangwa yimba dembar matuba ti ngwe sungyam ti ngwe shebegi tabla umegi riglamdi koyungure
So, in any case, the thing is that our way of perceiving things is confused and mistaken. So, in order to know that we are perceiving things wrongly, then the Majjhimaka come with the great reasonings.
딘데기 우메 riglamne lamsang korang nangwa di kak shabadawda nangwa meba sotugosa ti sotugu mare
However, through the Majjhimaka reasonings, if we think that we can block or negate our wrong perception directly, then that's also not the case. That is not possible.
nang nangwala dembar mashubala ta pentore
So it helps us to understand that things appears, or the phenomena appears, but at the same time they are not truly established, or they do not possess the intrinsic nature.
다 남지 ngazo peje nangla pedinro shairwa pena pena tadi debdi wala tamu nge imbache ti nge resla digaso ta nge dila ta debdila 직 당일 제도 당 장다지는 냐라 nge기다 도낭지 제구라
Generally, the analogy given in the text is like, for instance, I say this text is mine, then I would try to protect this. I would try to keep it very clean and protect it.
아니 디 deb딩에 캐라나 테스트 있잖아 띵 딜라 장다 제도 당 당일 제랑에 도낭 연구 말아
But however, this book is giving to someone else. Someone else, then I would not be thinking of protecting the books and keeping it very clean and nicely.
땅알라 deb낭게 레베스나데 대기고랑 나랑기 다부 당일 제외값을 나알라 deb낭게 얘기 deb디 켈라 퓨사요젤라야 deb디 낭게
However, the appearance of the book, my way of perceiving book while the book is in my hands, or later when it's giving to someone else, in both cases, I would perceive the book. The appearance is there.
아니 이나인다 낭거레데 이나야 델라 짐바 슈마슈당 델라 당열치 마실라 개발 정도.
The difference is, even though in both cases I perceive the book, but the difference is whether, in two cases, in the first case I have the the clingings of book belonging to me. In the second cases I do not have that. So that's the difference.
대긴거나 뎁디 가라 임베가서다 뎁디가나 추 보여다오당 디가 조울래다오당 텔라든지 랩스나 장다 치고 당열 치고 따딜랑 얘기 직 가둑별마게 처로와서 해야 들어 텔라 되네.
While I'm holding the book, then I have this grasping, or these fixations, or the attachment towards the book, that I have to keep the book very clean, free of dust, free of water, and everything. So there's this kind of emotional connections, believing this book is kind of truly there.
다 켈라 퓨차베젤라 다 대기기 당열치 얘기 처로와데다 예성을 해. 다 가르치나체 뎁디 레나레 라나레 땅알라 지도메슬라그라.
However, once it's given away, then this emotional clinging of protecting the book is gone, is no longer there. So whether the book is torn or burned, I will not care about it.
빼 대가 낭신키 우메기 땡지 마고위 나롤도 나란 쪽에 율통네 짐바슈당 찍당 우메 땡지 된절라 고와실레네 삼로 땅네 안 디간라 똥니레스는 예바지 총소나 낭거르데 낭와라 짐바 체중기 개발해요.
So just like this analogy, then before applying the Madhyamaka reasonings, then we have one way of perceiving things, and then after applying the Madhyamaka reasonings, then we have another way of perceiving the things. So two ways of perceiving are different. One contains the attachment, grasping things, grasping at the true existence of things. The other one then do not contain such graspings.
되니다 음악인 다 리글람네 마 시행디 남주다 니 가진 슈번 나신기 학동기 된다데 송거에서 슈인 바 가진.
I mentioned earlier the teaching of the five great Madhyamaka reasoning in a way teaches the vipassana.
다 학동스긴 계자디 말람나다 다디낭 처장 냠랭기 계자 검 계자 송거에서 슈인 바.
I also spoke of, it talks about the practice of meditations.
남중아저 검라 제네 검이야당 종네 검이야서 니형구라.
Generally, the meditation is classified into two, as analytical meditations and resting meditations.
또 우메 리글람네 마 가저 네번이 되더디 제네 검이야들이.
So finding the certainty through the Madhyamaka reasoning is the analytical meditation, pertains to analytical meditation.
다 제바 제서 딱 거네 가야민도 삼제더니 종네 검고.
Once we find certainty through analytical meditations, then we do resting meditation.
가진 슈인 바 미치기 우메 땡지 나가라 다 럽종지도 제고르데 냠nen단 자린디 다 소소로라 가리 태기도 가리니기도 우메 땡지 찍장말라 때네 똥니기 고아 양다 니투 그래 숨그래.
So I mentioned last terms, for studyings we have to study all of the Madhyamaka reasonings, but for practice we can use, depending on our capacities and the inclination, we can use one the reasonings, and through one Madhyamaka reasoning we are able to come to gain the great understanding of emptiness.
홀라 따디 트레덴스나 민도다 감미토 슈바도 차서.
So this is just a bit about these points.
당아저 슝 코랑기 가진 게 림바치 되나?
So now if we go into the text,
다 레 랑싱기 동반 넘버 양다바 지수 따오 스다 디네 마트라 가진 거죠. 이팅 시발라도 풍봉하고 대다 짱 랑싱기 동반 넘버 양다바 지수 따오 슈그니발 니버들 시라죠이 말이
최탐지 동반인
이 말이
생님해봐.
말마 쑥 동반 강지랑 이팅 지니 좀 시바들도 슈그니바기 이팅 시발
알았어. 달래서 그래. 되는 봐. 디신도 동에 왔다 근중 왔다.
가만히 잠발한다 네 말에 너 샤리프 엄리기 보모스다 되는 말 듣잖다 부모하고 대다지 랑싱 동반 넘버 양다 받치다 슈그니발 인지양다 니발 예스
샤리부 데이터와나 진주 선반 남라 토바 매베 칠.
어디 강마디 강말
안레 미기 캄 매베네 이기 캄 매베.
뭐뭐뭐
아 데이터비나 동반이 숲 동반이라 숲매 처음에 두시매.
딜레 마
데 말아.
샤리프 리기 포모 강라라 셰랍지 파르도 침바 사메 쩌버 되바 대다 넘버 따바 자디 본봉하고 대다자 랑싱 동반 넘버 양다 받치다 배 안랑 뜨자 이팅 찍니 숨시
당보다 말아.
Indian a son of noble family or daughter of noble family who wishes to practice the profound perfection of wisdom should sing the ordinary mare. 당가도지
부안 부모라 시라기 바르도 침바사면 동바줘봐.
인디들라 they should see the five aggregate to be empty of nature. 다들네 맞춰 봐래.
돈이 신절대 말.
돈이 시주기 강마들랑.
안 라스. 야. 샤리부 리기 부안 리기 보모스테르와.
어디네 맞춰.
안 라스.
딜마치 풍봉하고 대다지 랑싱 똥만 넘버 양다 맞지도 다오 양다 디왁드랑도
풍봉 yeah 풍봉다 right that's all. So now we are at the page I think Khenpo 등하는 이 this 집이 있어 말해. 얘들 short 당부들 돌아
알레
So anyway pay the line from the beginning, it's at line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. At 8, where it says they should see the five aggregates to be empty of natures. Yeah, just from there where.
다 가지 연적이 찍주작고라 간저 리바직 삼로 따임바.
So last time we talked about the reasonings that refuse the plurality and singularities.
테니 다 찍주작이 깝텔라 양 먼저 남주 망부지 강사기 담에 때라 밥당 지양 숭글 쇼라.
These reasonings of the refutation of the singularity and plurality mostly many times it talks about the establishment of selflessness of person.
당가나서 삼로 독스 당아 나나서 로디 툴도 덴바르도 다 리베 남네는 삼로 땅 지리.
So through the logical reasoning we can think take that our way of perceiving things are mistaken.
당가나서 강사기 다학셔바테 찍리 두마릴라 디고서 다 망치기 찍리스 랍도 카오라.
When we are asked the self of the person is one or many, then most probably people will say it's one.
남주민 안서 미찍랑 라그라.
Yeah, many generally we say we are is the self of person is one.
나저 땅안저디 파주 팀류 제디가서 되니 라켓도 녀고나 미찍이 니를 내가서 미찍이 라그라. 소소라. 니에서 망부에서 라그 말아.
And generally when we need to show our ID card for travelings and so forth, we would generally say I am one person.
Yeah. 답변 메시지 짱부 만다와 tinzena ta nga mangbure labda khora.
But if some people are very smart, they might say I'm many.
Te nga do tindi lawson tini nyokra chenbu tukura.
But if if you say such, then you might get into troubles.
Ta nga zo nga sheba di chigri layin di kapsu. Ta nga sekendi kangla tagresi di kapsu pungbol tuyne tagresi di yongda ra. Nga kawa yus ta nga zo pungbu kang zugu zugura.
So then when we say I or the self, and we will say I as one, and then when we think of where does this self is based on, then generally we say it is based or it is imputed upon 5 aggregates.
Ta di lungba sozo sozo lukso dawa na ta Asia mi mangchigi nga sekendi ta dur tangol dini ma ngodu chigira.
So depending on the regions and the region, then people have different way of identifying ourselves. Asian people mostly identify self starting from chest.
Ta nga zo nupcho jagab zo mingbe na tini lakwa changra dini chigira.
But people in the West probably would first raise their hand when they are when they are asked to name themselves.
Ta kaje nga di pungbola tuyne takbachik samla tangyore.
In any case, the self is imputed upon this the aggregates.
Tene nga dang pungbo니 chigdang kagare sin tiwa tangna chigre sin lagira.
Then, if when we are asked whether the self and aggregates are one or many, and then we would reply that they are one.
Pena nga ran zo subudi pasha nga de yus lagmara.
We would not really say, I am here, which is separate from our physical body. We would not say such things.
Pena nga zo modana rodi diga subudi modana yoche o nga jabla lak susin lagmara.
When we are in the car, our physical body is inside the car, and then we will not say, my physical body is here, but I myself am behind. We will not say such things.
Tadi pungbodan chigi marawo chi nga zo la samlo demba shukde.
So there is this kind of in our perceptions, the self and the aggregates being identical. We have this kind of inclinations.
Ta pungbodi kron nambage chashi mangbura. Tene nga mangbure lamna kenza chagra.
However, this aggregates has many aspects, and if we have to think that, then in that case, since the aggregates has many aspects, then the self is also many. If we think in that way, then it's quite strange.
Nga chigyu laging di ki ane chaptu tene nga mangbuyu lamna tene kenza chagra.
Instead of saying I'm one, if you say I'm if you say I'm many, then it would be very strange.
Ta nga mangbuyu sin malabrang kegirita.
But at the same time, we have to say, in that case, we have to say I am many.
Kisi nga di mangbure shebaki lama tup songwaina te nga dang pungbo ni chig mahimba chature.
If we don't say I am many, then it will be the case that we are different from the aggregates.
Te pungbo la matube nga di zana nyigi marwa.
Then, however, we won't find ourself, this self, which is different from, which is not dependent on self, on the aggregates.
Ta dinde inde ta nga segendi chig imbagi demba di shig dogudwa. Di riba tangna chig dumagi riba di koyo na.
So, however, using the reasonings of refuting many and the one and the many, then we slowly kind of our grasping towards self is kind of gradually collapse.
다 ngachik lagin thi samlo di demba remin do.
So the way of thinking that I am one is also not correct. It's mistaken.
Demba sengela gyurwa yo marwa.
However, the truth is
gyurwa mebal demba segen korangi kejo di gyurwa mebashi kora.
The truth, the characteristic of the truth, the feature of the truth should be something which is not changing.
gyurwa chendi zumbare lagrang zoi zumare lagra.
Generally, we say that the changing things are false or mistaken.
Ten namji ngana zo jizo nala midi tangbure midi dembare la diga so keja dita ngamchi parsumna chibaji jan shegen jukura.
Usually, when we say the person is very truthful, then that implies that the person is very, he always speaks one thing.
Ten kabre keja kakase, sani keja kakase, nani keja kakase na gyurdogin den tangan zo tati demba remindu zumbare do lagra.
But however, if person speak one thing today, another things tomorrow, and then another thing say after tomorrow, then we would say that person is not very genuine and truthful.
Tape tenang shingi naran zugi nga shebadi tangan demba chigre sambadi gyurwa mebashi dogmin doa. Ko rikpe che sona ta nga tuma cha dogdoa.
So when we analyze through reasoning, then our notion of self being one is actually does not stand. It also then also self becomes many, and our notion of self being one is kind of is not withstanding.
Tawana digido nga shebadi ani tuma mangbu inge lamna choksare samgurayang.
Then in another case, we might think, oh, maybe self as many might be right. We might think in that way.
Chik koran shang meni bala tuma khande shagi.
But if we are unable to ascertain self as one, how possible, how possible are we able to ascertain self as many?
Ta mijila komuchian yo marela yang mijila ko pesha mangbu yore la indi keja galwara huni.
Saying that person does not have any money, and then saying the person has a lot of money is actually contradictory.
Ta nga shebati chikdang tuma nige gutsudu ta shang nugu yo mar rikbelamne.
So through the reasoning, we come to the understanding that self cannot be either one or many.
Ta mangbuchi nga nyombare la nyangare. Nga chigre koran ta keja kanza rikbelamne keja dhamida sere mata nga chigre esan ta tendo kawre.
Some people might think I'm insane and crazy. Yeah? Even if they're using great reasoning, I'm always one. They might think in that way.
Tadi ta nga zo demba denzindi zimbadi kazu takbodo rikbelamne dumna yang durung nga zo la lelaw yichero chigminda.
So these indicates our strong grasping as true or hypothetical existence. We think or believe things have true existence. So even though Madhyamaka reasonings are showing us that things are devoid or without the true existence, but we still do not believe the way of reasoning.
Tang dine sam tang ra. Te nga yeme la zeje chinande peje khayere ngani yeye bare samsig ra.
So on the another way, people might think, what is the usage or the purpose of searching for self. I'm always there. So people might think it in that way. I'm always there. What's the use of searching for self?
다디 짜와 엄마한테 가을 두고 그랬으나디 망보시기 나라 둥알도 나 둥알레 달고도 삼로 여대라 디 삼로 세상 직바르다 미쳐상라 미 짱만 도와 셈제 탐제라 둥알레 달고 같이 당 대화 톱고 같이 삼로 직송래
However, the wish to find self is based on the very nature of we all human beings wanting happiness and not wanting sufferings. We all kind of emotionally kind of experiencing suffering all time, and then therefore we want to avoid get rid of suffering. That's on that level, on that fundamental level, we all are same.
다 상계기 가서 양답에 따와니디 둥알 중내기 시자와데 가르데 짐바레 송래 짐바 나네게 나이 나르진디레 송거라 나 삼발
So Buddha said that the source or the causes of all sufferings is generally the fixations. Within the fixation of the grasping at self, ego clinging. That's the very cause of all the various type of suffering.
나 세긴기 삼로 유디 아니 삼로 니바딜 신 세긴 삼로 레용라
As long as there's notion of self, thinking I am, then there arises another thought which kind of think as others are. Then this sort of others.
티니 나당 신세니도 두용디 테니 나이 촐라 아니 간주기 테니 가사초 녀사초라 테니 도샤게용라 테니 신델라양 나당 마참바 나당 미팅바들 콩도게용라 테니 바르마델라 테니 땅뇽스네 테니 디무기 남바 쉬어디라 다 독숨 되네 중거
As long as we give rise to this dichotomy of thought, thinking, I am is self, and then others are different from me, this dichotomy and the dualistic perceptions in another way. So then we kind of give rise to the attachment towards yourself and those who are close to yourself, and then give rise to hatred towards those who are not close to yourself, and then give rise to indifferences towards those who are between, who are not close to, who are neither close to you nor not close to you.
다 간저 남주시나 다 딘델드네 다 코로암 직된 두비용그래 숨그래 작당 몽숨이 직된 두비용그래 숨그래
So in that way, the world of the samsaric world forms in that way.
다 직된 두비용도 다 직된나 동알려되라 되리
So as long as there's this samsaric world, then of course we all experience suffering.
당한저기 리베 남시데 나세긴 풍벌을 뜨네 땅인데 다 풍벌데 매바다나 나 매바 다 매바 똑도 살스네 디다 람 노쇼드르다 디 나에 말이다
So if we think that now, if we think that, sorry, the concept of the I or this self, it's based on the aggregates, and then when the aggregates are then the aggregate is eliminated, then we are able to understand the notion of the selflessness. So we might think it in that way. However, that's a very wrong way to approach the notion of the selflessness.
류디 땐잠라 류라 땐바디 셈라 셈디기 짐바디 유디 셈디더니 다 준이기 내로 마도게 봐도더니 다시 걸와 찍니 균이 다 여대 바래 레균데기 제스당
So the body is the basis, and the mind is the one that is, basing itself on the body, and at the same time projects all these different kind of experience or the appearances, and through that, then the we create all the karmas and the causalities.
Teni pena ngaranzo sona sengjira thui japsadinde. Sona nan cawa shudulani yangazo ba steam bar nan rona cawa chikpa chikjang ro. Tina chi saja chau jewi ro shimado tini nyora zoe marda.
So if we are taking bath in sauna and then thinking that is very hot there, and then change another sport, hot bath, right? If we then change to the steam bath, but even if we do that, we still are in the suffering of feeling very hot. Just changing the spot does not remove our suffering. We are still in the experiencing sufferings.
Ta dorduna semdigi zimbadi kasu che songna tela tene teni duksumdi shukche yungure. Semdigi zimbadi kasu shukchungor che tama zimbadi le trosuna teni nyomong tamji le trolchugure.
In short, if we have the strong fixations, mental fixations, then we experience suffering, more than others. But if we have less mental fixations, then the sufferings comes from the three poisons slowly reduced.
Ta dorduna di rigbe lamne phungbo dang thak ni di chik thadeli number deba yimba demba memba yimba hago indi tanga ngarang nga sheba di khaya madu bare du seni di madu be gala nyamar shaktu wachi.
So then the very point here we have to keep in mind is that as the self is not established on the basis of the single and as well as the many, the pluralities. So then it's beyond all of the concept of those many and single or one. So then we have to be able to just abide in this free equanimity.
Ta zodi ta ngaranzo 당보 랑기 류기 때나 다학셔바데 마주바 다메바 임바지 삼로타 안 텔레 만 자체로 당디 최 탐제 다메바레도 삼다데 냠네디 칼레보라.
So in short, we have to come to the understanding or the realization that self is first of all not established on our physical body, then slowly to all other phenomena, the possible phenomena of the world do not this do not contain self. Self is not established on any of those phenomena. So that's what we have to come to understand.
지당 리벨 남네 딘데 숨으레 짐바 체슈 유사딜라 짐바 메바 똑토나 아니 셴바드 짐바 메바 또 레라그레 숨으레.
Generally, in the logical reasonings, if we are able to understand that self is not established on the most
짐바 체슈 디간라 짐바 메바기 라완로 탑소나 아니 짐바 추준 여기서다 레라보지 마 빵투레 생다 리벨 남딘데 숨으레.
If we are able to kind of eliminate the point where we are prone to get the most fixations or graspings, if we are able to deal with that, then the possibility of the fixations are not very easy to deal with. They slowly kind of naturally get dealt with.
테가나조 잠볼링 나라 미소소 수소 게라 게시나 개추주디 가르슨 개추주 나랑 라그라.
Generally, we as a human being in the world, if we are asked what is the most important things for us, then we would say most important things is just ourselves.
또또들 삼로 구양하면서 된 얘기 교가 게임에 부구들이 라그라.
If someone is a little kinder, open-minded, they might say most important things is my wife, my children, or so forth,
이 낭미스 라그라.
or my families.
대양 나당 대화를 니스 나당 대리.
That is still also connected to self or to I.
다 디인데다 나셔바디 다 매바디 찍두르기 삼로 땅네 땅이 단다버도 나 열에 삼대와디 로 출발해도 준이 리베 딱 신체나네 뭐 내줄을 삼로 땅네 나데 민도 되네 디 매바디 갈라다 삼로 땅 도와지고.
However, if we are able to establish the selflessness through the great logical reasonings and then abide on the notion of the selflessness and, again and again, then that will help us to actually deal with all the emotions and practice the path.
되네 나 매바디 냠내 야보차나 땅 얘기 낭미당 아니 사마 보조든들 째와 매바샤스 디삼 셈데키는 낭 말했어 째와 양다바스게 그랬어.
However, there might be worries such as, if we perfect the practice of the selflessness, then we won't be caring and loving towards our lovers and families, children, so forth. There might be such worry, but that's not the things we have to worry about. If we are able to understand or realize the selflessness, then we will be able to generate the genuine love towards our families and spouse and children, so forth.
나란 저기 단다기 낭미당 아니 조보 종모당 빈자든들라 펜타나 다체 디기 다체 디잠라 펜타이기 레마도 딜라 지툭 말아 지단 지된 건 계시나.
According to the conventional or to the world and the life, kind of how the people live life, then however we do for our loving ones and the families and the friends, so forth, we won't be able to help that much just regarding the worldly matters only.
나란 저기 냠내 야보치네 다 강사게 당매함 nga스게 매바 똥반이 똑투스나 드니 당보랑기 사마 보도네 잠베 콘솔라인 되게 고아 때니 니시 정투스나 드니 깨와네 세랍 탐제 동알리 탄네 양답을람나 거투레스.
However, if we are able to realize the selflessness and then the meaning of the emptiness and for ourselves, and then later help our friends, families to understand such the meaning of the great realizations, then that will help them tremendously. That will help them not only for this life, but for the for next life and many more lives in the future.
틴디다 펜도 약쇼데 치투르 셈데키는 낭 말했어.
We will be able to provide them the greatest help, or we will be able to, do the greatest benefit to them. We don't really have to worry about that.
페나 상게 샤키투 바나신.
Just like the Buddha Shakyamuni.
아니 콩 되니 이 결론안에 슈되나 파마데서 체 딜라직 샤비슈에 마도 펜칸 툭마라.
If he remained in the palace, he would have benefited their parents for only just one lifetime.
땡콩 랍도 중네 되니 엄버서바 상게데 되니 코랑기 얍라 최송라 근데 결불라 담베도 생 얍라 최송 얍 졸송하래 또 윰대양 또 공게니 시라 슈유 마라 앙 숨주자스미 라이드 깨바 학원에 두루팸네 되니 dao sum jiring la chö sune yang yum de yang dembe sala ko barwa
Yapdi Thaisa.
yapdi kurang serge tong kurang la phemne ra ani sanji chö sung di chö sung peja min kurang gyalbula dambe dos peja min kurang ra yum de yang yum tong ne ja sumji tasum kiye di kongi ngonshi gi kendi duru phepni chö sung ne den demba yang dabe sala ko ra ten nga zo sanji di ma phebe ni ten nga zo lapap dujin sa shimo zige di ra ta dende na chetu res ta bi yakshu penton da
Buddha Shakyamuni, after leaving the palace, then he became monk, and then realized the truth. And after realizing the truth, then he came back to his birthplace to teach his own fathers, and he gave extensive teaching to his fathers. And then his mother, she did not live very long, but she passed away before Buddha arrived back home. But Buddha, through his realization, he realized, or he knew, she was taking birth in the the realm of the 33rd 33rd realm. She was taking birth there, and then Buddha went there, gave her 3 months teachings, and through that, then she was able to realize
demba tame to
that she realized also the selflessness, the concept of the emptiness. And so this is kind of the help, the great noble help that we can do, and the Buddha himself did. And he gave teaching to his father, and there's a specific text called Text for the Kings. And his the fact of going to the heavens to teach his mother, as and then coming back from the heaven. These days we celebrate the festival called Buddha Descending Festival. This is because Buddha went to teach his mom in the heaven realm.
따지당 산지 코랑기 yumde ta 산지 ta baje tungnen ta dunda chik jel thongwa lo judinde yo
So the historical records is that Buddha's mom passed away 1 week after the birth of Buddha.
teni 산지 di ko jalbu yindi te 코랑나 sikyo nangi te mama ngabjagi sewares yo
So also the history says that Buddha, even though he's lost his mom very soon, but he was raised by 500 other mothers because of being the prince.
당한지 인지기는 베비시터로 라오라
In English, we could say the babysitter. He had 500 babysitters.
다 건종 ngabjadi gelong 마지겐 당쇼디레다 딱 쪼디 지기라 대기 고치니 최상치
These 500 babysitters or stepmothers of the Buddha were the very first bhikshunis.
라스다 가제 다 디네로 시세
It's just something like this.
다 가제 감독이 디네 당부랑기 풍보디 찍도마 가야 레면도 삼았다 땅아 나가서 진진도 나서 주구주사면도 주구주사 맨 아니야 땡에 예 삼대도 따딩가 너와도 출와도 some 뭐시고 왔다
Yeah. So most important thing is that we do not find self that we cling to. We always cling to as neither one nor many, and we can't really pinpoint anything at self. Wherever we search, we don't really find self. So it's just that a point. We just kind of abide in that not finding self.
nga seba di lugi chilo la, lugi nang la, lugi teng la, kawaya mindu samne ta di meba gang la ta, meba san lao ra ta, meba yang di meba tongjiang ma re ta di, tongni tuja lo yi zindang tamje shigbegi, ta nga meba chiga la nyambar shak to chigo.
So the self is not outside of our body, not inside of our body. So we don't really find it. So we just abide on not finding it, not finding anything. But at the same time, we have to be aware is that it's not like total vacuity or nothingness. It's just more of, without fixations, mental fixation or grasping at something that we think is self. So free of all these fixations or grasping. So in that way, we should abide.
그래 다 오늘 지나 드링 시행 엄마 디 텐드 계절했던 다 딜레 트레이닝 다 디지털 신사다.
So actually, I plan to talk about the interdependence for today, but it turned out, and time now is running out.
다 든다 엄마 디 마셔 봐지다 술기 계절 망보도 샤서 찍지나 펜톡시기래 다 찍지나 펜도시다에서 거 말해 된서.
So I didn't really get to talk about main point, but I talked about all this secondary things. Hopefully, it won't be too useless. I hope you all find something from this.
다 찍두달 쓰긴 리바디 pen 넘버 쓰기래 지다.
Generally, the reasoning of neither one nor many is considered very, very important.
디기 강사게 당면나 최탐제 다음에 봤던 밥누고 리바티기.
This reasoning establish the selflessness of person and the selflessness of phenomena.
당아도 디 음악이 깨값을라 된다 숨스 남달 고숨스 망부 연구도 와.
남타 고숨.
남달 고숨스.
남타르.
남달에 가진 게나지 디도. 다 가진 음악이 나 된다 숨디 개좀 버지. 똥니 임베라 된다 숨스 개좀 버지. 림바 조당도지. 림바 조당 숨지 숨.
So in Madhyamaka reasoning, there's 3 points, 3 ways of understanding the actual reality is considered to be very important.
남중은 좀 동반이 슬라기와.
We speak of the empty of essence.
아니 규체만 매봐 슬라기와.
We speak of empty of characteristic, the causes.
아니 두 멤버 매봐 슬라기와.
And remember.
두 마음을 중그레스라. 그 중요한 거라 매봐.
So the empty of the effect or the result.
다 가진 다 봐도 리바 시디기 다 뒤둔다 숨던 거래. 찍두달디기 근데 뭐를 줘봐 찍두달 쓰는 뭐 동반이 맞은 거래.
So this among this reasoning, then the reasoning of the investigating the identity, refuting the singularity and the plurality is in a way the establishing the essencelessness.
제 가져간도 귤을 줘봤어긴데 유체만 해봐라. 누구라? 규코랑기 친이코랑 누구요 말스 규세긴데 대우께 도와라. 가져간도 귤을 줘봐 도제세바되기 규기 대우께 능문도.
So the investigating the cause, the Vajra splendor, is investigating the non-existence of causes. We don't really find any causes which is producing any effect.
든 대우 멤버 매바 셔바되기 아니 대우를 줘봐 유맥긴 거스네. 대우코랑 누구면도.
Then investigating the effect, the refuting existence and the non-existence effect is kind of helping us to establish or realize that, we actually, there is not anything called effect. It's being produced.
니가라 줘봐 무식긴 거스긴 다 귤을 줘봐 나라 두시는 지.
So then investigating the both cause and effect, the refutations of permutation of the arising is can be included in the two previous one.
당아절 도발리라 규단 제우기 남샤 ngogi 남샤 메나 타 우마발라더니 균데기 남샤 여 말에외에서긴 디오 도바실리라.
So then at this point we might come to doubt or the hesitations of thinking that if there's no theory or the systems of the causalities, cause and effect relationship is not really there, then we might think in that case then the Majamika
우마나타 균데기 남샤 메바레외에서 도바치시라.
so then we might doubt that the Majamika do not accept any of the the theory of the causality.
다 유레스 다디 텐데 침부 텐즈나 레르 여바티.
But then the answer is yes, Majamika do have, and this comes in the next reasonings, the reasoning of the great interdependence.
텐델 기왕 유레테 이나 ngo 동반이레스 리양.
Yeah, and the according to the dependent originations, then there is the theory of the causality, but the in essence everything is empty.
라스타 계자 몸으로 차서 다 드린데니 참샤긴라.
Okay, I will stop here. Otherwise, saying a lot.
쳔바 dunra nala tene 텐데 랑 콜라 슈긴다. 되게 파파 추추드 마무시라 슈메 투즈 트라당멜.
So next week I will focus on the I will focus on the interdependence, because the reason of the interdependence I will not talk about anything else.
라소 tenga ngo nyamdu sona.
Yeah. Please do the dedication with me.
Noin Changjo Semjo Rinpo Chi Maje Bonam Jinjur Chi Keba Nyamba Meba Yang Kone Kondo Pelwar Shu Sonam Dien Tamje Seba Ni Topne Nyebe Rana Pamje Gega Nache Bala Tubai Sibe Solen Dowa Dolwa Shu